On my way to the Meadows, I got my little co-pilot here with me. Addie Bear was home from school, and she wanted to hang out with Dad today. So Amy's got a lot of work left to do at the barn. I took her to the Meadows with me. Man, a great day of training. I love it when I forgot my sunglasses. I love it when there's like a coming out party for a couple of horses we knew had some good to them, had some pop to them, but hadn't really seen it consistently or just obviously staring us in the face. It's one thing to say, I'll get to the names in a little bit, but it's one thing to say horse X, this horse clearly has speed, like to see them put it together, like to see them be consistent, and then have them come out and just look dominant. It's a good feeling, for me anyway, because we put all the time and effort into getting these horses squared away, and then to see them squared away doing the work well is it's a great feeling to know that the work you put in is coming to fruition. And it doesn't always happen that way. Obviously, we have some horses that have some more work they need to do, some horses that quite frankly struggled a little bit today. Was it the mile? That's a tough ask. A mile and a half, you go that first half in 25 and then go a stern mile with them. That's a tough ask. I would say 80 to 90% of the horses we put on the track today, if you went 2 trips, warmed them up slowly, put them in the race bike, you would be very surprised with how good they looked right now. And they don't have to look any better. I mean, gosh, it's May the 7th, May the 8th. Lots of time yet. There were some horses, obviously, that made my list today. Horses I'm gonna maybe take under my wing over the next week. I would say, while everybody's busy going slow miles Saturday, there's a good 5 or 6 that are going to go a little faster mile. They're going to work a little harder, and I'm going to try my hardest to see if we can get them squared away. So let's get right into it. Now I have the list of the set list that we went with. The set list of horses that trained this morning, and I have my own little notes that I took as I was watching before I left for the Meadows. I watched all the sets myself just to see if there was stuff I missed. A couple of horses I put up front. Maybe I wanted to see how a horse had made a break, what took place, what went on. I talked to a couple of our riders or drivers today about their horses, and man, put credit where credit is due. Amy McDonald had a tremendous day training today. She had everybody in the right place. She did everything right, and all of the horses I think she went with were very, very good today. I know she was quite pleased with not just the one she went with, but the one she takes care of when we come off the track. I'll coax her into doing a video with you this week, a video with me this week, for you guys about all the horses, not just that she went with, but the ones she saw also. Now in the first set, we had Pretty Eyes and Lies, Uncle Danny, Aunt Sarah, Judy's Money, Leland Hanover, and Emerald Tom. Made a shoeing change on Leland Hanover. He made a break coming in half. I don't know what went on there. He's going to find himself in my office. Now, I'm not mad at him. I know that there's a lot of work to be done between now and when he becomes a racehorse. So I'm not upset with Leland Hanover, but I do want to get a handle on what took place with the break today. Tyler couldn't really put his finger on it. He said, well, he got into gear a little bit, rolled off stride, and then he wouldn't do his work the way I want him to. Okay. A lot to unpack when it comes to him. I'm going to do my best to unpack it throughout the rest of the week. The problem is they're putting a new roof on the paddock at Northfield, so the main track is closed tomorrow and Friday, so I'm just going to have to jog him, make sure he's sound, and then on Saturday he'll do a little work for me at the track. I had my day start with, this is complicated. I had my day start with Pretty Eyes and Lies. I thought she was good, just needs more work. What you guys are starting to see now, and I want you to understand this, horses that missed a little bit of time, we'll talk about Aunt Sarah, Blue Rare, maybe they missed a week or 8 days of training hard. You see the difference, right? You need to be on your toes and working all the time. If you're not, then you just look like you're a little bit off the beaten path, so to speak. You're not really at your best. And Blue Rare came a very good last half, a very good last quarter. But again, here's a filly that I truly believe is one of our best horses, but I'm not disappointed with her today. She wasn't on the line the way she was. She was trotting comfortably. She did her work well. I was very pleased with Blue Rare, and here's a filly that finished 5th today in her training set. That doesn't mean just saying, don't worry guys, she'll be fine. No, she did everything I asked her to do, but when you're not working full time, that's what happens sometimes. So I don't want to get off track. Blue Rare is later on in the card, so to speak. Pretty Eyes and Lies was good, just need to put more work into her. As I said, that's a lot of work. We went a mile in 2:12 and a piece, off a half and 8 and a bit. So last half in 103, 103 and 2, 103 and 3, and went a first half in 25 before then. It's a lot of work for a filly, especially that doesn't do her best work. Doesn't do, quite frankly, a lot of work on the front end. I thought Pretty Eyes was good, just needs to do more work, that's all. On Sarah, same thing, missed that week, it shows. Judy's Money needs to do more work. Eric said running in a bit. I think her hobbles were a little tight, and she needs to be shod also. So I'm not too worried about the horses that were in that set per se. Emerald Tom, there's a horse that's going to make it to my office. So who's in Anthony's office from set number 1? Emerald Tom. I just want to see what's going on with him. Here's a horse that I know is fast. We all know he's fast. He was amongst one of our best all winter long, and still is. We just have to figure out where this wrinkle came from. And there's no obvious lameness or soreness, so that's a good thing. Where is this wrinkle? How do we help him? And how do we get him back on track? Leland Hanover is just continuing to keep him on the proper path, and that will that shouldn't be that hard to do. And when it comes right down to it, Uncle Danny, as I said to you guys, an absolute killer. He showed it today. Had all his toes chopped off yesterday. I was very worried he wouldn't trot very good today. We put 2 sets of bell boots on him, and just when it looked like that's exactly how he would like things. Horse was, I don't like using words like bionic or bomb-proof or anything, but he certainly looked ultra impressive this morning. And again, you start to see when you really start pouring the work and pouring the speed to the horses, you start to see that ladder appear, right? The cream rise to the top, as they say. And when it comes to Uncle Danny, he's definitely cream, that's for sure. Set number 2, He's a Fearless Peter was very good. Justin Justin Irvine came with us today, and bit of a menace on the track this morning, little Justin. I do it all the time. He ran over He's a Fearless Peter's wheel in the last turn and ended up making a bit of a break, and I believe flattened Johnny's wheel. So He's a Fearless Peter looked good, especially since he got a little jostled there coming out of the last turn. A little Justin, but it's not the end of the world. I said to Justin, it's all worked up, but I said, who cares? It's not the end of the world. You know, they got to learn to be in tight quarters. I said, you ever see one of ours make a break trotting over a wheel, do you? They see lots of wheels throughout the winter, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. So He's a Fearless Peter was actually very good. Bobby, I'm going to change Bobby's shoeing. Now, I didn't really ask Bobby for a ton of speed. We were going lots in the end of it, and Capistrano Nights was really impressive today. Really, really impressive today. Bobby, a little tired on the end of it, but I noticed she chewed up her hind boots really good. So I'm thinking, I liked it when she had the bar shoes on before. Do I want to put those back on her? I might just go to a set of flip-flops right now on her. So I might put a set of flip-flops on Bobby, but we are going to have to do something with her hind shoes also. She's chewing up her hind shins. So how do we help her? There's no perfect answer, or maybe, quite frankly, there's not just one answer. There may be a number of answers, but any one of them will do as long as it helps. So a little shoeing change for her. Megan, I told Tyler, and it's really hard when you're going with a horse. It's hard to understand this. Megan's lucky day is simple. You need to keep her head just askew. As you get to the turn, you have to have her set up to the left. If you have to check her, and she gets on that right lead, on that right line, and runs in it all, she's way more apt to make a break. In fact, I would say 8 times out of 10, when she hits that right lead, if she runs in a little bit, she's going to touch herself, she's going to make a break. And you just have to be aware of that. Tyler said, yeah, she got in and just made a break. And it's not really his fault, but it's a good learning experience, not just for her. We're trying to get her away from doing that, and that's built on confidence, quite frankly, and a lack thereof when it comes to a trotter. So her confidence was getting good. I don't think that's a huge setback, but also for Tyler, driving trotters, sometimes that is important. You start letting them coast in on the turns, especially at Northfield where the turns really suck right now. They get in on that deep stuff, they're way more apt to make a break, and quite frankly, that could have played a major role in her making a miscue today also. Don't ask again. She's got to come into my office. She's just got to start working harder. It's hard for her too, because I see how much Cherry's girl has come forward, and it's frustrating me that this filly hasn't come forward the same way. It could be that she's just not good enough, but I'm not sailing that ship just yet. I want to believe that her own stubbornness and attitude is kind of standing in the way of her becoming a pretty nice filly. That's my belief. There's nothing you can do but continue to work and work and work and work and work until she gets it and her confidence starts to come up. And that work will begin on Saturday. Degas just continues to get better. Really, really like what I see from Degas. Eric really likes her, says she gets better every time. We haven't asked her for much, nor do we need to, but we will at some point. I think over the next 2 weeks, at some point, either a week from today or 2 weeks from today, you're going to see a number, if not every single one of our horses on the starting gate, and Degas definitely will be there. Capistrano Nights, I can't say enough how pleased I was. Amy is a little self-conscious with this filly because she is prone to make mistakes and get jostled and get scared and blow up. And Amy, one, drove her perfect, and two, the filly looked phenomenal going by me. We weren't walking; we were moving on the end of it. So great job by Capistrano Nights, and quite frankly, a fantastic job by my wife. You know, I don't want to just come up and pat her on the back because she's my wife, but it's tough for her sometimes, right? She's always in the shadow of me or the stable or other people, and people don't realize the good work that she puts in on the track. She did a great job today, and those horses were not easy. There were no walkovers for sure, and she did a great job with all of them. Duchess, I have Royal Duchess on my office list, but it's not her fault. It's the first time she's run in like 3 months, and I told Tyler you have to have the hobbles tighter, and I did. I watched. If you go back and look, he was tightening the hobbles up. He was tightening them up before we went. He just didn't get them tight enough. She likes them tight. She likes them snug. She works through anything that's bothering her with them that way. When you start letting them out, making them loose, you're just asking for trouble. And she ended up making a break on Tyler today. Joe J. Fotag, just baby steps. You know, I see this gigantic, shiny, beautiful filly, and she just doesn't, you know, the body does not match the engine, so to speak, just yet. And I'm hoping that she will come forward. I know that Eric liked her today. He was surprised that I said, yeah, she's got a lot of work to do. He said, gee, she was pretty good. She had some moments in the mile where she came forward. I said, well, you found a training partner, because I'm not going with her right now. I have a lot on my plate. She's not really doing a whole lot wrong. She just needs to do more right. So, Joe J, just baby steps with her in New York. He's going to go in my office, but make no mistake. So here's a horse. I'm going to play it all out for you, right? I'm going to lay it all out the table for you. When we got him, he was terribly gated. He needed the hobbles. You know, he's rough, but he was getting his work done. Then we took the hobbles off him, and he was good in 240. And he was good in 235. Then he was good in 230. Now, he hasn't really made that jump to 215, 220 flawlessly, but his gait is nice. And I think he will make that jump. It just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And after today, I think a lot of you are starting to understand. When I preach to you all winter long, just trust the process. This is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. You're not going to see immediate results. You know, you're not going to hear me say, don't worry, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and bam, they're fixed. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it's just, as I said before, baby steps. And within New York, it will be. His attitude's great. He does actually have a nice gait, but he does brush his shins behind. He is very self-conscious of that. And once that confidence starts to come up and that self-conscious thought process goes down, you're going to see a much, much better horse. And a horse that actually, I believe, we're going to have a lot of fun racing this summer. And that was in New York. What about Captain Doolittle? Make no mistake, he got up and I thought he won. I might have hung on. It doesn't matter. The horse trained great, looked great. Amy was happy with him, and the horse looks confident now. This was a horse that looked terrible all winter long. In fact, there's one of you, if not two of you out there, that virtually begged me to dump him and get rid of him. And I think you're going to be happy that we didn't. By the time he gets to the races, I don't know whether he's going to be a Stallions colt or what he's going to be, but I can tell you one thing. Horses that get better and better and better this time of year, go faster and pass horses, they're the ones that make fun race horses. And say what you want about Captain Doolittle. Is he flawless? No. Are you going to get him mixed up with Mac Lobel in a video? No, that's not going to happen at all. But I can tell you what, he's that meat and potatoes type horse that wants to go and get it done, and they're the most fun horses to race, actually. AC/DC just needs more work. He needs to get stronger, faster, quicker, and there's no cheat sheet for that. You got to go out and put the work in, and I think AC/DC is going to. He looks like he's more than welcome to do it. And by the way, for Bill, thank you very much. One of our clients had ordered pizza to the gate. Now, I wasn't there. I didn't eat any of it. I'm sure it was good. But I guarantee you the people that are in the barn right now are eating it, and they're happy. So thanks to Bill for doing that. But AC/DC just, again, work. More work for him. Neuromancer got that odd, really unique gait. Made a break starting in the back. Just touching himself. Getting out of gear. I think we gotta, every so often, I'll take the hobbles off, I'll put them on, I'll take them off, I'll put them on. Like we went a mile on 2:16 off Athens 11 today. It's not a slow mile. He did his work very well. But he needs to do it flawlessly. I'd like to see a more slicker, fluid gait. He's got that gait where he's like wearing rubber boots behind. It's a weird feel. But I'm hopeful that by the time we get closer to the races, we'll have him squared away and have a much more appealing gait to him. It's certainly not by no means an ugly gait, but let's call it a mildly inefficient gait this time of year. So we got to work on that this week with him. Now, set 4. Every horse in set 4 did their work well. One horse in set 4 came forward in such a manner that was almost scary. Every time of the year, and we talk with the cream rising to top, or call it whatever you may, there are horses that emerge. They just emerge. They look ready to rock. Jailbird Jog is as serious a competitor and as serious a 2-year-old as you'd want to have this time of year. She's made lots of breaks. She's got out of gear, but I used her in a very, very useful way today. Sat 4th, she followed a helmet perfectly. I moved her over, and she was like an absolute pit bull. Not crazy, not hot, just methodically advanced. And once she got the leader in her sights, was just merciless. Drove away down the lane, and that leader, when you have the momentum, and I had the momentum, and you're jumping on a horse like even Tomboy Strong's one of our best horses. It is so difficult to hold that advancing horse off. And I knew when I came there was nothing she was going to be able to do about it. That was a battle of 2 very, very good fillies, and I think if you reverse the roles, put Jailbird Jog on the front, have that other filly come to him, you may have the same result. But Jailbird Jog was top shelf today. That filly felt like an absolute animal and was very, very good. So set 4, I'm just going to go through them. Rico Tubbs, I had mentioned to Johnny, and it was after Had to Know had made a break. When you have a horse that is not expected to win the set, like Rico Tubbs is fast and Had to Know are fast, but in those sets, if you were to put odds on them, they're 4th or 5th or 6th best. You got to get those horses up near the front at the start and give them a fighting chance, right? Because if you're going to come first over in that set on Tomboy Strong and them, it's not going to end well. And he ended up just pushing him off stride. I think he just got out of gear. He said he just got out of gear and he lost him. Well, we were just starting to march, and he was on the outside, the middle of the turn, advancing. Maybe not where you'd want to be, but again, this is all live and learn for both the horses and the humans, sometimes training. And I'd said to Johnny just after, briefly, I said, hey, when you're in that situation with a horse like Had to Know, you're best to move him to the front at the start, right? Let somebody else remove, follow the speed rather than trying to attack the speed, because there's going to be lots waiting for you there. So, not unhappy with Rico or with Had to Know, but just need to tweak the way they go about their training. Now, in the 4th set, Jolene Hall was great also. We came a very stiff last half. You may have seen Jolene Hall retreat by a couple of feet, but I'm telling you, we were absolutely rocking the last 3/8. Jolene Hall was great. Tomboy Strong just proved again, just continues to keep that edge. Her and Uncle Danny, that edge from their Ohio competitors. They are just a little bit ahead of both of them are just a little bit ahead of their gender in the trotting side in our barn right now. Rico Tubbs is good. My name is Wayne. He came a big last half also, in case you're wondering. Supermind was awesome, and as I said before, Jailbird Jog was just straight up scary. Set number 5, and you want to talk about a killer. Now, this goes out to Jim and everybody else out there. You know, you see a horse like Xena Kemp make a lot of breaks and struggle through March into the first part of April, and I told you, this is a process. You are starting to see everything. You get to see the play from behind the curtains all week long, right? Not everybody gets to do that. And sometimes it's hard to discern what you're looking at, right? And it goes back to, as I had said to one of our clients, Captain Doolittle. I don't know how good he is. That was a hell of a mile today, and he looked pretty professional doing it. So you can't judge. I know everybody thinks they have an algorithm. It's like going to a casino. I know how to beat the casino. You do not know how to beat a horse. I can guarantee you that. You don't know how to discern and look at talent and say, this is what a horse can and cannot do at this point, because they can fool you. Now, sure, I can tell you who the best 5 horses are in the barn, more than likely. That doesn't mean that number 20 isn't going to get to 6 and wow everybody all summer. And quite frankly, Captain Doolittle is moving in the right direction, where he may make a lot of people eat crow, me being one of them. So, and when it comes to Xena Kemp also, all the brakes, what are we going to do about the brakes? Nothing. We're going to rinse and repeat. We're going to continue to put the work in. She shod properly. We know what her issues are. We're going to continue to work on them, and she's going to come forward. That's exactly what she did. Work. That's what you have to put in. These are athletes, and sometimes we all forget it. Same as I do. Xena Kemp looked as ordinary as you could look 4 weeks ago because she's coming off a bunch of breaks. Her ankles and knees were bothering her. She wasn't in shape to do what we needed her to do, look like she was today, like she did today. But lo and behold, once you start putting that work in and the horse's confidence come up, they're sound because you know what their issues are and you're working on them. That's your final product today. Filly looked absolutely amazing, and quite frankly, at the end of that training set is another filly that I think very, very highly of, Blue Rare, who again looked kind of ordinary today because you don't understand. You can't just give them a week and a half off of light training and then come out and go with horses that have been training hard all week long. Sure you can. If you are just head and shoulders that much better than they are, then yeah, you can do that. You can cheat the system sometimes. But more times than not, you can't, right? What you put in is exactly what you get out, and what we put in is exactly what you see on the track. You saw the difference with Xena Kemp today. The opposite side of that is Blue Rare, who trained great. Good last half, good last quarter. That's what she could offer because we were going easy on her the last 2.5 weeks. Watch how Blue Rare looks over the next 3 weeks. And then you're going to see again the difference. Steph's Hope just continues to get better and better and better. Cherry's Girl looked good. Royal Flush Deal also looked good. I don't think I'm wrong in saying every single horse in set number 4 and 5 did their work very, very well. Now, Head to Know made a break. Okay, fair ball. But that wasn't just his fault, right? So we'll continue to work on him. He doesn't need a trip to my office. I went with him last week. The horse isn't dialed in as much as you can be. It's just not really the end of the world when it comes to Head to Know. We know what their problem is with him. We need to work on his feet. That's it. His feet. Looks great. Putting on great weight, shining up, feeling good. We need to help him out. It's not as easy as you would think. It's posing a bit of a problem, but inch by inch we're getting there. Now, I would think that we saved the best for the last, but quite frankly, I can think a couple of horses today that looked every bit as good as any of the Pacers did, and that's not taking anything away from the Pacers. They look fantastic. I thought that Millie Girl, first over, fought tough. There's a 4-wide finish with a good mile, went a mile and 2.9 with those horses in the jog card. Perfect Dot just continues. You know, Jason said she'll always just do enough at the very minimum to get the job done. And I said, well, the day I fired her up, she obliterated everybody. You can't sit, and then just try and turn her on. You always have to have her in high idle, and then when you drop the hammer, she's gone. If you let her roll back into neutral, then yeah, it'll take you a little while to get her started up. But I dare say if Amy came wide open with Millie Girl, she might have crossed right over in front of Jason getting into the last turn. But Amy's smart enough. She came hard, realized that we were going lots, and just kind of sat her in idle again, and we all finished together. I thought I was going to get by there with the other filly also. She tried as hard as she could all the way to the wire. It was a very, very good training trip, and quite frankly, a very, very good training day at the barn. All the horses, these 1.5 miles, they stretched them out, not too hard, but they stretched them just enough. A lot of them came in tired, but they'll come out next week and be that much better for it. You can see the ones that have been on their toes and training well for a while. Horses like Zena Kemp, this is like a month of strong training for her. She looked amazing. Horses like Jailbird Jog, who couldn't have looked any better. She looked, as I said, she looked ferocious. She was very, very good today. So we'll start with this. How many horses are heading to my office, right? Uncle Danny, another one, looked amazing. Who is heading to Anthony's office and why? I just think Pretty Eyes and Lies needs a little more work. On Sarah just needs to continue on this path, do a little more work. Same with Judy's Money. Leland Hanover and Emerald Tom are coming to my office. Emerald Tom, I got to get him squared away, put some work into him. And Leland Hanover also. Just no rush. I'm not worried about pushing him any harder, but I want to get him set up on the right foot and moving forward. Rose Run Bobby, we just got to make some shoeing changes with her. I'll go with her again on Saturday and see how she feels. Megan, wasn't Megan's fault today. It's just one of those things. Don't ask again. Yes, needs to do more work. She can come to my office also. Royal Duchess, just want to make sure that she's on the straight and narrow. That wasn't her fault today. Also in New York, most definitely just work is all he needs to do. He's got a great attitude and great work ethic, so I suspect you're going to see him get better and better and better and better every single week we train him. And then Neuromancer, just got to polish, right? We got to start polishing this guy up. He's trotting good. How do we have him trotting great? That's the question I have to answer. Set 4, every single horse in set 4 was fantastic. Every single one of them. Certainly no concerns from set 4. Had to know it was not his fault. Just change the shoes, change the way we approach our training trips with him, and we won't have any issues. Every other single horse in that set went great. And then all the pacers are dialed in that we went with this morning. So I would say an exceptionally good training session today. One that was very defined a lot of the horses, where they're at right now in their training, how they look, what they could or could not be. It's going to allow many of you to do some more dreaming, I suppose. Some of you out there are going to be licking your wounds and saying, well, I wish my horse did this, or I wish my horse could do that. Just as I said to you back in January, February, March, April, and now in May, just let the process work, right? We've done this before. This isn't our first crop of babies that we're trying to get to the races. And for those of you who have watched it firsthand, you saw how Zena Kemp struggled in March and looked like an absolute racehorse today. You saw how Jailbird Jog, the breaks she made, how hot she looked, how disruptive she was on training days. And now today, after putting the work into her and cleaning her up the way we wanted, how incredibly strong and powerful she looked. Tomboy Strong and finishing second to her looked great. Uncle Danny looked, like I said, I don't like using words like bionic or bomb-proof, but he looked both. Very, very happy with what I saw today. I hope you are too. I can't imagine you're not. As I said, you start to see that ladder emerge now, but enough movement from the ladder points of it, the lower points of it, and the middle of it, up forward, then I'm very, very happy. I don't see very much regression at all. I see some horses that have struggling a little bit right now, but that's why they're going to be heading to my office this week. I have 4 or 5 that I'll be working with throughout the week and into Saturday, but for the most part today, pretty hard to be much happier than we were with what we saw this morning. I hope you agree. We'll talk to you all very soon. I'm about half an hour out from the meadows. We got our boy Maury today. Obviously not our only horse racing today, but the one that I'm watching the closest. Take care. I will talk to you guys later on, maybe this afternoon on my way back from the meadows, or maybe tonight after Northfield. But at some point, I will talk to you.